Hello. Hi.
Good morning, Land. I hope you've all got your cups filled with some tea because our cup of tea is back, and we are so excited to speak all things women's soccer with you. My name is Megan Warner, and I'm here with my co-hosts Harley Ford and Katie Goodman. How are you guys today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Very,
Good.
very good.
Good.
Staying busy.
Good. What's it
Yeah,
like in Florida right now? What's it like in Florida right now? How's the weather? Still pretty
very
humid.
hot. It's actually really overcast in Florida. Like where I am, it's so cloudy, and I'm like, bring back the blue skies.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
cloudy.
it's
Pretty
been
cloudy.
it's been kind of like that in San Antonio surprisingly. I don't know if it's from like weather developments like in the tropics or what, but we've had so much rain this summer. It doesn't even feel like San Antonio. It feels like we're in the southeast somewhere. So practice has been really interesting, just playing in that environment again. I actually kind of prefer the overcast versus dead heat. So that's good.
Yeah. So, are you guys ready to get the party started?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Woohoo.
absolutely.
So, I feel like we should just
Drink the tea.
take it kind of back to the very beginning of all of our soccer journeys and just kind of let everybody know who we are and how we kind of came to be in this position that we are now. So, let's go way back. How old were you guys when you started to play?
I was 4. I was 4 years old back in the
um,
day.
I was 12.
Wow, that's awesome. Because I feel like a lot of the players in this league, they start at a younger age. And so it's incredible that you're able to do that at a later age. That's really cool. That's really cool. How
Yeah,
about
how
you,
did you
Megan?
find?
Yeah,
I
Oh,
yeah.
go ahead. Continue.
I was
I was like 4 years old too, so like I feel
Oh,
like
sorry.
for us, Katie, it was kind of that more natural age where everybody's right at the beginning. Whereas Holly, how did you find that being a bit newer to the game when people have probably got a few years behind them?
Like I certainly, didn't realize how far behind I was in some ways. I sort of I was always doing sports. I wasn't a soccer player, but I did do dance. I was playing tackle football with some boys. Like full on like in the mud doing it all. So coming into soccer was like I was still athletic and I had very good concepts about being sporty, but I didn't know the difference between like a football tackle and a soccer tackle, so that was a learning curve. Um, but I mean, I had the luxury of being able to play as much as I could, like every single day. I was playing. I had a soccer ball at my foot almost every single day of the week, and so the time that I, didn't get to play, I made up by doing it every single day since I was like 12. So
Wow.
I jumped right into it.
I bet tackle football probably prepared you better for soccer than like Little League ever could, especially if you're playing with
Yeah.
boys, like athleticism is half the battle. So, man, watch out for you.
Yeah, no, and I give them
Well,
run
you
for their
throw
money.
up people, I bet. Yeah. That's great.
Now I
Yeah.
get where the slide tackles come into it.
Yeah, I can't help it,
I
man.
have to tackle
Background.
somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do feel like the athleticism is so important that like even if you've come from a background where you've done dance even, like there was like a period in time where everybody was like every soccer player needs to do ballet. Like it's one of those things where it just incorporates so many different like athletic physical abilities that if you've transferred from other sports, you do have a solid foundation in order to be able to physically compete. And then it's kind of developing that IQ comes as you get involved in the game more.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
I
I
would
did a
agree to
little bit
that.
of gymnastics. I did gymnastics for a while until it came to the point of where I had to choose. And I was like, man, gymnastics is so fun. But it's like, I'd already played soccer for like 5 years or something at that point. And so I made the choice. But kind of came full circle because I'm a yoga instructor now. So I kind of get a little bit of gymnastic y type stuff. So yeah, it's crazy how it all kind of comes into play. But you would think that by me doing gymnastics I'd be like way more balanced, and even doing yoga I'm way more balanced, but I'm still all over the place. kind of scrappy, falling all over, like scrambling. It's so weird. I'm like, you can practice everything off the field all day long, but it doesn't always translate, you know. So I don't know. That's cool. What about you, Megan? Did you do anything else, like other sports other than soccer or anything?
Yeah, I feel like I kind of did it all. Like I was really, really blessed, and my parents just wanted me to get super involved in all different clubs, like I did. I actually did ballet when I was really young. Like that was kind of what my sister did, so I went into ballet naturally. And I think it was about 4 years old. I think I told this on the UWS kickoff show a while ago. I was like 4 years old. I had a big show coming up, and I had to wear a costume. And I just was not feeling it. Like I did not want to be in a ballet show. So I was like, Mom, I don't want to be in the ballet show. I want to play football. So
That's awesome.
My dad was obviously extremely happy. He was like, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, then I kind of, football was my main sport, but we have netball. I did ice skating, ran track. We have a game in England called Rounders, which is a very strange version of baseball, I guess you could say. Swimming, yeah, gymnastics. I even did. But yeah, I just did like a bunch of different stuff. But for me, like it was always football, and it was kind of like, oh, this has become on the same day as football. Okay, that's over. Like football takes priority. So
that's so good though to have like so much of a well-rounded athletic background, because when you're that young, you're just developing movements and muscle memory and things that are really hard to acquire later on. So I bet that's totally showing up for you in the game. You know, like all of those little things in the past. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And luckily for me, I never played rugby. Props to anybody who does, because that game is a little bit too scary for me.
I would love to play rugby, I think. I would love to try that.
Of course. Of course
I think you can actually be really, really good.
One of my friends just like busted a rib from rugby.
No, I just think you could genuinely.
Yeah.
So
totally. One of my friends just
go ahead, Casey.
Oh no, I was gonna say one of my friends just busted a rib from playing rugby, and so I'm just like really like, I don't know, maybe now is not the time for me to try that. But hey, Harlie, I believe in you 100%. Yeah. I think you could handle it.
We have soccer season going on right now. We can't bust ribs right now.
In time. In time. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's kind of talk about our club journeys. Obviously, me being from England, it was kind of a bit different. So, like, I would love to hear you guys talk about where you kind of went. So, when you decided, hey, I want to play, was that in a school environment? Was it at a club? How did you kind of learn the game?
So for me, my older sister played, and she's 13 years older than me. So, and that time she was in high school. I thought she was the coolest ever, like total superstar on the soccer field. So I just wanted to follow in her footsteps, and I think my parents did too. I think they realized, hey, you can get a scholarship in college by playing. So they kind of went ahead and started me young, moving in towards that goal. And so my first club was just nothing special. I played with my niece. We were completely different ages, you know, just playing, getting touches on the ball. I didn't even really get the game my first year. I don't think I scored a goal until I was like 6 or 7, something like that, because I just kind of ran around and like participated essentially and got out all that crazy. Though. Oh, it was so awesome, and it was like both my parents were there, and everyone was like, "Yeah!" Like it was a World Cup goal or something. Yeah. So you know, and then from there, I went to different clubs. Like in middle school, I went to the Storm, and they were good. My coach was Colombian. He was wild. Oscar Munoz, shout out to you, man. But he showed me a lot of those fundamentals early on. I became like a major dribbler, but it wasn't until I started playing for the Classics Elite that I understood more IQ about the game, and that was all through high school, end of middle school, all through high school. I was playing for them. And originally it started out, they only had a D1 league. They didn't have a Premier League. And so, mind you, this is over 10 years ago because it's been a while. So eventually they got a Premier League, and I made it on that team. And then that's how I got scouted by coaches, luckily. So Once you get into those older years, it's so important to be on a good club if you're really wanting to play, college. Just for anybody out there watching who's maybe their kids are watching or interested in getting to this level, a lot of it happens in middle school, high school, and a lot of recruiting occurs like your sophomore, junior year. So just wanted to throw that in there. But what about you guys? Like what was your club journey like? And
Like the iconic story is that I started in dirt patch. I played up for the YMCA. And like everybody's part of the same organization, and there were hundreds of kids at the time on this little like patch of grass behind the YMCA. So by the end of the summer, like it was nothing but dust. But we did our best, and for a while, I think we were there for like 2 or 3 years, and then it got to a point where my parents sort of saw that both my little sister and I knew how to play soccer like pretty well.
yeah.
And that like the level of competition that was available like within this inter organization wasn't exactly what we needed to grow as soccer players. So then I started looking at like different organizations in the area. There's another local program, and I got to play for a coach. His name was like Zana. And he was so wonderful. He was so smart about the game. I think he had like an A-level coaching license. He was all about it, but he was coaching these
Oh,
13-year-olds. He had
wow.
like so wonderful. And he was so awesome. He really helped me understand how dynamic and creative the game can be, and he helped us learn the important parts of soccer, such as controlling the ball and making the right plays, where you don't always have to go forward. You can reset through the back and try a different angle of attack. So that was really great, being able to get into a higher level of competition and also be surrounded by other girls who knew what to do. And then from there, like I ended up going to another club because that club kind of dissolved. For some reason, in like American soccer, club soccer is so political sometimes. There's so many moving
It
parts, and
is.
it's like really
Yes.
difficult to yeah, like, stay with an organization when there are so many hands in it that are all trying to, you know, do it for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of it was like monetary based. So we ended up going to another organization that was more focused on actual player development, which was nice. I mean, it was nothing Coach Zana did. It was just like the people who were in charge of everything there. And then working with that club, that was the last club that I was with, and all the way through high school, and then even after I graduated. And it was just, being able to get into that kind of level of soccer really, really helped me, because when I ended up going to high school, I had some better skills to work with and showcase as I approached girls who, have been playing since they were 4. I walk up, I'm like, well, I've been playing for 2 years. And they're like, oh, where'd you come from? I'm like, Dubai. They're like, oh,
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's great, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't even have like proper cleats. I had my football
Wow.
cleats, like my tackle football, like there's pictures of them. They're huge. Yeah.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh,
that's my
everybody
Oh
club
was
my,
story.
I
scared to
love
go
this
into
story. I love this. I'm like, yes, Team Harley over here. I'm like, good a girl, yes.
Thank you.
That's so funny. I feel like for me, like my story was kind of a little bit like um unsure at the start, because I feel like in America, soccer has been really promoted for women, whereas when I was kind of growing up in England, it was sort of just coming about for women, but it was definitely mainly more focused on men. So like I started off playing for a boys team um, when I
Wow.
when I first had to play. So I was like one of sort of 2, 3 girls who kind of showed up, but it was definitely very boy dominated. Only girl on the team at times, like the other girls like didn't show up. So that was definitely kind of interesting to see, but like that never really stopped me. Like it never made me feel like I couldn't play. But I do think that growing up at that time, there was probably a lot of other girls who maybe missed out on that because they didn't want to play with the boys. Um, so I played with the boys when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, I think, and then
Wow.
dad actually set up a girls team because my sister became at the age where she was too old to play with the boys. I think it was maybe like 10, 11. I'm not sure the exact age, but they get to a point where they were like, no, girls, you can't play on the boys' teams anymore. So my dad set up a girls section at the club that we were already at, which, I mean, shout out to my dad. Like, he's such a legend, like, creating that opportunity.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes.
So we would
Like,
like go into different schools, put up posters, like come join our team. We had like the age group, my sister's age and my age, because obviously the club was kind of based upon us two at that time. But then eventually we did see it grow, and other people got involved, and it wasn't just like my dad. It definitely really has come up.
Mhm.
It's come such a long way.
yeah.
And so then I was about 11, I think, at the time when I got, you kind of go to tryouts for like the academy level teams. And I was about 10 or 11, I think maybe 11 when I got picked up to play for Middlesex. I played for them for a few years and then transferred to Watford, played at Watford. Then Watford also had the opportunity when you were 16 years old. So I played like my club football there. High school is not the same either. Like high school is not really a big deal. You know, we had like 3 or 4 girls who could properly kick a ball. And then we just had like field hockey players and netball players like come because they had like decent ability. They knew spatial awareness, like they could kick the ball, but they weren't through and through like soccer players or footballers.
Mhm.
Then at 16 years old, Watford had this really amazing opportunity for female players to be able to go to college, which again is not college in America. But it's sort of like a bridge between before you go away to university and college and once you're finished with your GCSEs in your high school or your secondary school. So for 2 years,
That's so
I was
cool.
doing like all sport based learning, so like anatomy, psychology of sport, like all a variety of different things, along with like training every single day with Watford and playing matches through them, which was just the perfect opportunity to set me up to then go out and play in America. But yeah, so like my
Dang,
journey kind of
Watford.
just
That's amazing.
saw you just really totally saw like the growth of the game, like as obviously like it feels like it for me because I grew up with that, but I do genuinely feel like the game grew along with me to where it was like play with boys, set up your own team. Oh, you can join academies now, and like now you can do like full time education whilst playing the game. Like the opportunities for me as I grew up, they just kept popping up. So I'm really, really blessed in that situation to be able to like get so many touches on the ball, like training twice a day, that kind of thing.
It sounds like you had
Yeah,
like
I
so
love how
much
much
more
you're.
of an intense
Oh, sorry.
experience young on. Oh, sorry. Yeah, all the delay. Sorry. Yeah, but I was gonna say it sounds like you've had such like an intense experience early on. Like you were like laser focused between going for the sports psychology, practicing every day, and I'm gonna bet your dad probably had a pretty big hand in that, right? In guiding you. He probably saw a lot of that potential, and that's really cool. You know, it's just like a totally different experience. And high school here, it's kind of similar. It just depends on the area you're in. You know, like there's a lot of Dallas, Houston teams are typically the better teams in Texas, high school wise. And I was lucky in my high school. Half my club team went to my high school, so we actually did really well in our
Good
district
chemistry.
because of that. Yeah, and we were playing double. We were practicing together in high school, then we practiced together in club, and so it just made it that much better. But that's
Yeah,
cool.
everything
That's all
clicked.
really cool.
I think it would be interesting if, uh, from like the past 10 years, I started playing soccer in like 2010. So even 10 years later, the type of soccer that is available for youth in America has increased dramatically. Like it's a completely different game today. There are so many, just in Florida alone, like the options there are for kids to find a place to play. It's incredible. But what's interesting to me is that like there's not really this focus on development outside of being an athlete, which I'd love to hear. Like that's was your experience, Megan. Like you got to develop as an athlete, but you also got to develop as a human being. You know, they gave you the tools to be a successful person. You know, which is something that is I think is not stressed enough. Like being on the field, I'm coaching 10 players right now, and it's incredible that like this is my first season that I've had them, but that so many of them have come up. They're 10 years old and they're already coming to me and telling me that they've had coaches that like tell them that they're not good enough or this, that, the other thing. I'm like, right now, you guys shouldn't have to worry about being good enough. You should be having fun and learning the game and also learning how to be good people. You know, I really help a lot of my kids. Like some of them were just like so angry about like not doing well or something. I'm like, it's not about doing well. It's about learning. You know, it's about growing and being somebody who can be a good teammate on and off the field. And, you know, that's really going to lend to being a better soccer player later because you're going to be willing to learn. You're going to be willing to grow. You're going to be willing to change with the people that come around you as teammates and coaches and anybody else who's involved with your program. So I really I hope at some point there's like more focus on combining both a personal and athletic development like within that youth level. You know, it'd be wonderful to see.
It's so important. Like even moving on past college, you know, like whenever I took my medical release, I know we'll get to this in a minute, but it was like an identity crisis. I'm like, what do I do with myself now that I don't have soccer? Like, it would have been really nice to have those tools and coping mechanisms of, you know, what it means to be an athlete off the field and when you're not practicing and playing all the time. So I'm in 100% agreement with that because we can lose a sport at any time. You know, like you can have a severe injury, you know, things may not work out. And so, yeah, I think all of those tools are so important and they're also only going to help you even more on the field. And I think a lot of these segue leagues are helping to fill a void as well between just UWS being that segue league from college to pro, and then I know there's a lot more help and development in the younger ages getting on to, you know, the Olympic development teams and things like that, versus before it was so political. It was like borderline impossible to get on those teams unless you were just a star, you know? So now there's way more programs in place that help people to get there. I'm noticing a lot of the youth players that I know are laser focused. They already know they want to play pro. And I'm like, wow, I can't imagine being young and already being like, yeah, I'm going to go pro. You know, like that never even crossed my mind, if I'm being honest. I was like, I don't know, I like to play and that's it. So I love it though, because that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. If you want it, get it and believe it. Yeah. So
many big names out there who are just like such role models to these younger children that now they see like, oh, I could do that. Whereas I think, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, but more so when you were growing up, maybe there wasn't as many role models getting that kind of spotlight position to encourage younger players that, hey, you know, you can take the game as far as you want to take the game. If you want to play pro, you go for it and you can actually do that.
You're absolutely right. I mean, for me growing up, my idol was Mia Hamm, and it just seemed like what she had was so unattainable. I was like, wow, she's this magnificent, huge star, you know? And it was really cool. But, you know, as you grow up, especially depending on what your background is, the level of dedications your parents can give to the sport, the amount of money they have to get you on the best of the best clubs. There's so many different things involved and to what get you into those levels, you know, and who you're playing with. If you're with the best of the best, if you have someone pushing you on that level, there's a lot that goes into play there. But yeah, even when I graduated college, there weren't options really to play pro or do any of that. In fact, one of my teammates went international. She went to Club Pachuca. She's still playing there, and plays in Mexico because like here it was just kind of like slim pickings. I think the league had actually dissolved and then it came back. But you know, now it's just I'm just so happy about the UWS. It's everything we've needed for so long. It gives people a chance to get better. And that's the thing is you can, even if you weren't a rock star in college or whatever, like the UWS provides an opportunity to give you really good coaches. You're playing at a whole different level, to work on different things maybe that you hadn't worked on before, that you're just unaware of. Every time you have a new coach or a new team, it's an opportunity to see what it is that you need to work on, or what you can do better, or even what was working before that you can apply again. So yeah, total agreement. Things were a little bit different for me growing up, but here I am. So I'm like all for it, Yeah. Yeah. So who were some of your idols? That's what I want to know. Growing up soccer wise, you guys have any soccer idols out there?
Yeah, so for me, when I was younger, I had my eyes on Karen Carney. Just, I had my little England jersey with her name on the back. Like, that was the player that I wanted to wear. And I feel like that's kind of rare for young children when we were younger to want to wear a female name on the back of their shirt. But now, you see boys and girls, they'll have Morgan on the back of their US national team shirt, which I love. But yeah, for me, it's Karen Carney. She was a huge role model for me. We just got a comment in about her. Yeah, she's incredible. And I love that you can see her now, like, getting involved in the kind of punditry side of the game as well, because the opportunities are just there for women. Another huge role model for me was Kelly Smith, who actually she went to the high school like 5 minutes down the road from mine. So that was kind of like a local legend. Like, we would be walking our dog and we would see Kelly Smith's dad in the park. And I'm like, so yeah, two incredible athletes who have really improved the game so much and just such incredible talents. What about you, Harlie?
There is a player from England. Her name is Jess Fishlock. Don't know if you know her, but she's insane. I think she broke her leg a couple years ago, and she's imagine coming back from that. That's the most critical part of being a soccer player. Like, you need your legs. And she, the way that she plays on the field, she's so tough, and she will take any hit and give it right back. I love watching her play. She's so cool. But I think another one that I personally look up to, she was a local player, and I think I'm not sure what club she's at now, but her name's I think she plays for the Dash now. I'm pretty sure she's in Dash. Her name's Jasmine Spencer, and she is one of the kindest human beings I have ever met. She is a strong soccer player, but she's also such a strong personality. She only knows kindness, and she works her butt off to make it work. She did not make it easy. Getting into the NWSL, being a professional soccer player, it took a lot for her. It was not something that came to her. I think it happened in her late 20s when she finally made it pro, and she's been chasing it ever since. She's been from club to club, but she's still working at it, and she hosts kid camps and making it available for youth to learn the game. And she has her own hairband line. She's trying to make it more accessible and putting her brand out there, and I can't describe to you how amazing she is. And she actually came out to my high school. She became a good friend of the family, and she came out to our high school and helped us learn how to play soccer, and spent 2 hours with us teaching us the ropes, and telling us that regardless of where we want our soccer careers to go, that we were good enough as people to make our dreams come true. So she's absolutely an inspiration. I love her so much. She's awesome. So that's my person, Jasmine Spencer. Shout out.
That's so cool. So cool to have someone in person. It just makes a totally different impact when they're there and they're helping you. Man, love it. Love it.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Hope you guys get to meet her one day. She's super cool. Oh, Jake Smookler agrees. She's amazing. She's awesome.
She's the LL Rain team. Okay, nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she used to play for the Rain. She used to play for the Pride, and now she's with the Dash. So.
Okay.
And Jake Smookler should be happy about that. He's a huge Houston Dash fan. So.
They're so good. We got to play them as a friendly, and I'm pretty sure we played their reserve team, and they rocked. I mean, they were so strong. I've never been so inspired as when I walked into their facility, and I see all of them walking out, and they're all ripped. they're all like super women, like super strong. I was just like, we look puny compared to these beasts of women. And I'm just like, I went home and lifted weights. And I'm seriously, I put myself on a weightlifting regimen. I'm like, all right, I got some work to do. But it's just so cool to see them playing at that level, and just like the accuracy of their passes were just like, it's just a good game to watch.
Such a big difference as you go up through the game. It's just like the amount of mistakes that are reduced. Like, I feel like that is the biggest difference that we see, is that like they don't make that silly pass. They don't take that touch that invites the pressure. Like, so when you play against them for that kind of first time playing against a professional club, which is just such an incredible opportunity that the Athenians had, it's like, oh, okay, like this is what it's like at the next level.
Yeah, and it's a huge change. Just speed of play, everything. You're like, it's shock, but you got to put yourself in those situations in order to get better, and to go up in levels. And it's like the necessary evil, kind of, get beat to hell and back, but you'll eventually bounce back, so. But good experience for sure. Super grateful for my coaches and the people who they've all connected us with. I mean, it's making huge strides for San Antonio, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But I want to know about your college journeys. Like, what colleges did you go to? Did you play there? Like, tell me a little bit about all of that.
Yeah, so I came over to America at the age of 18. I went to Daytona State College, which is a junior college in Florida. It was a brand new program, so I was there for the first year, which was a really, really incredible opportunity to just be a part of like creating something new. Like in pre-season, we not only had 2-a-day training sessions, but we would have classroom sessions where we were like, okay, what do we want the core values to be of this program? Like, what do we want the mission statement to be of this program? Where do we see ourselves going? And like just really creating something that will create a lasting legacy. So that's really amazing. And the program has just grown from strength to strength. Coach Brittany and Coach Maggie were there when I was there, and they were such incredible coaches who taught me so much about the game. So yeah, that's an incredible program that has been like ranked nationally top 10 ever since it came about. So an amazing program there. And then after 2 years at my junior college, I transferred to Weber International University. Really wanted to stay in Florida because I love Florida sunshine. And had another 2 more great years. Amazing players. I think Weber particularly, I loved the kind of strength and conditioning side that Weber has. Like, they really focus on you being a full athlete, and the coaches that I worked with there were so top class. Like, it really, I've never sort of got in the gym so much in my life, and now after graduating from college, I'm in the gym all the time, and that kind of sparked my love for that. And that's also where I met Harlie at Weber, because my senior year, Harlie and I got to play together, and that was incredible. I love
that. Ah, that's so cool.
That was amazing. Yeah, that's how I met Megan. Like, that's how we're like still friends. It's amazing. All the same things. The strength and conditioning program is bar none like one of my favorite things about going to that college. Like, the tools that I learned to be a better player and a better athlete, like, it's still carrying with me today. I know how to take care of my body both on and off the field, and even like post-game recovery. It makes sense to me now, like how important cool downs can be. It was so fun. I love the fact that, somehow from all the way over in Watford, England, Megan found her way to Florida, and I get to like play with her. And I still play with her now. Like, I play on Unity FC with Megan. It's incredible. Yeah. I don't know. It's amazing.
So I bet you guys,
and I'm happy to play with her still.
I bet you guys bounce off each other really well if you've played together that long. That's like a whole nother level when you just know somebody. You know exactly what they're gonna do after years of. That's so cool. And
I think also developing, not only like I know how Harlie plays on the field, but like I know her mentally too. Like, I know what to say to Harlie if like we just got scored on, or like if I'm like struggling in the midfield. I'm getting pressed every time. Like, I know I can speak to Harlie about that, and like how she goes about things in the mental side of the game too, and like sort of coming together to create a solution at halftime if we're down a goal or whatever it may be. Like, we've developed that relationship where we can talk to each other so easily about the game, and just we respect each other's opinions so well. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we strategize a lot. Lots of strategizing.
Yeah, so
That's a major.
benefits.
It's so good to have someone like that you can bounce off of, because it just makes things easier both on and off the pitch, you know? Like, that's, I think, one of the things I miss most about like college and having like the consistency of the same team is like you get to know everybody, you know how they play, you know who you can go to talk to, and all of that. So that's a total advantage for Unity FC, I think, you know, having both of you on the team. And is there anyone else from your college that you guys still play with, or that's on the team, or like, is it just you two, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask, because you never know.
No,
Okay. There you go. So that, I mean, it helps.
my
The
little
more
sister
people that
went
have
to the
played
same
together.
college as us.
Cool.
Oh, sorry, my feed.
Oh no,
I think
it's
I'm
the
behind
delay.
a little bit. I'm
No,
lagging.
Yeah, same. My delay is all whatever. But yeah, no, that's so cool. That's so cool that you're able to work with each other like that. The more people that you have that have history together, I think the better the program. So
Yeah, definitely. Katie, tell us a bit about yours.
yeah, so I played at Mississippi State, and the reason I went out there was because my sister played at MSU 13 years prior to me. So she also helped to start that program. She was a captain. She did really well there. She also ran track. And so it was always one of those things in the back of my mind where I was like, you know, I want to play Division One. I don't know where, but so I went to camps at Texas Tech, LSU, and at the end of the day, I loved the campus at MSU. Everybody was so nice and amazing. The coaches were really cool. So I walked on there initially, and then I got put on scholarship later, which was really cool. And it was a total culture shock for me. You know, up until that point, the level of soccer that I was playing was pretty casual. You know, like I ran track and cross country, so I was really fit. I could move really quickly. My speed is kind of what helped me with my game. And so that really helped me at Mississippi State. But what I had to improve on were my skills, my mentality, keeping my confidence when I was playing with so many awesome players. And it was a whole journey for me. And my freshman year, I got there, I was in 2 days doing clean and jerks, and I ruptured my disc. So I had to take a red shirt my freshman year. But then I came back my sophomore year, wasn't playing really. I was trying to kind of rehabilitate. And then by my sophomore spring, I started playing again and was kind of starting to make a little bit of a name for myself. Then by the time my junior season came along, I was playing in more games. I was starting. But there was a point in time where I really had to make a decision of, am I going to stay here on the bench, or am I going to give everything and try to be better? So I would go maybe like 1 and 2 hours before practice just to work on touch, work on muscle memory, whatever we were working on, whether it was chips or driving the ball. I was working on that alone, and by the time practice came around, I was really warm. So that single thing is what kind of got me into the 11 on the pitch. So that's something that has just stuck with me my whole life. It's something that, you know, if I can do that, I can do anything. And I'm pretty much applying that same mentality to what I'm doing now that I'm back 10 years later. And I know I've skipped ahead a little bit, but by the end of my junior season, it was cut short because I ruptured my disc again, a second time. And then I rehabilitated, came back my senior year, ruptured it again, and took a medical release. And so I had a fifth year, but I medical released my fifth year pretty much. So that was really tough for me.
Katie.
Yeah, it was tough because it was my life, my passion. I gave everything to it, and it was a huge loss. On one hand, it did afford me the opportunity to take a really good internship my major is international business and Spanish, so I got to work in Miami for Citibank and their Latin American division, and I thought, okay, this is just the next chapter of my life. But as I got into it, I was just like, I'm not a cubicle person. I'm a very physical movement kind of person. So that's when I went into yoga. I learned a lot about yoga and just body awareness in general. And so because of that, I have been able to strengthen my core. I've lengthened a lot of the muscles that are responsible for, causing those imbalances and triggering rupturing of discs. So I've just gained all this knowledge about my body. So between that and just strength training and how PT has advanced so much in 10 years. 10 years ago, it was a joke. I mean, they had me doing some of the craziest stuff ever. Like stuff I shouldn't. I'm looking back, I'm like, I don't know that I should have done that. But now it's so much better. It's preventative. And so, coming back this season, while I've pulled a couple muscles here and there, I'm just able to approach it with a completely different mindset. It's a different game for me completely. I'm playing more with my mind, more so than my body. And I know when to listen to my body. I know when my body's saying, hey, right now it's the no more, or it's going to get worse, So yeah, I've pulled a couple muscles here and there, but that's my body talking to me, So right now I'm in the phase of where, what, I'm going to work really hard. And I'm going to build this season. I'm going to get my touches in. I'm going to get my fitness in. I'm going to lift. And I'm actually looking forward even to after season when I just focus purely on fitness, because I think that's like the biggest breakdown for me right now is just, I don't bounce back like I did when I was 21. So that's kind of where I'm at, and kind of play the team mom role, And I don't know. I'm just happy to play again, because like I said, like I can't articulate enough how big of a life change and a loss it is when you've played a game your whole life, when it's your full identity and then you lose it. It's like I spent years scrambling trying to figure out like, well, who am I? What do I do? And so to have it back, it's just a godsend. It's a total blessing even to be playing and kicking the ball again. So yeah, that was a really long rant about my whole college journey, but I felt like I had to connect the dots for you there on what's happening in my life right now. Yeah. So, yeah. And ever since I picked it up, there's nothing but opportunities and abundance that are coming my way because I'm in alignment with who I am and what I love to do. It's authentic to me, and I think that's a testament to just sports in general. It kind of takes your mind away from the negative portion of fitness, where people, I want to be skinny and I want to look like this and I want to do all these crazy things. When if you have a sport, it's like I am working out to be a better performer or to have more endurance or to be able to play the game that I love, So it's just opened my eyes in so many ways, and I'm actually working on a program right now to help people like me who maybe they shouldn't have contact sports yet, but they want to build that fitness, they want that camaraderie. And so it's working on the fitness side of soccer. So it's in its building stages as well. So, but stay tuned, and when I'm ready, I'll share the whole shebang with you and let you know what it is exactly I'm working on. So,
yeah. Oh, that's very
Katie,
exciting.
that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really can't ever recreate the environment of being on a sports team. Like, it's just second to none. Like, the kind of family atmosphere that you get as soon as you step away from the game, you almost don't realize how much joy it brought you to just be a part of something. And that's why it's so incredible with UWS, because it kind of bridges that gap where once you finish playing, or if you've gone on to play after college and then you want to step down into a different kind of environment, or you've been away from the game and you want to come to it, or you're preparing for college, like it just hits the target for so many people to come together and share a passion that everybody has. And yeah, you need that team environment, and once you step away from it, you're not prepared to be almost alone in life.
Right. Sports are an integral part of life, and that's why I believe so much in the youth programs. I'm just so happy to see how far it's advanced. Like it's a game changer. Just love
Yeah,
it, you know.
absolutely. And I completely agree, like about the UWS, like uh, graduating from college, it's really tough to know where you're gonna go. It's the state of women's soccer in America is very difficult. There's only what I think 12 professional women's teams. It's not easy. What's the next step after that? And the fact that UWS is so accessible to so many players and it's focused on being something that women can continue increasing their athletic ability or increasing their camaraderie or just showing them that their careers don't have to end after college, or maybe you didn't get recruited out of high school so you can continue playing and developing there. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that I get to be a part of such a wonderful organization that's focused on people, just really focused
Yeah.
on helping people grow and find families, and it's really wonderful.
I absolutely love that too. And also, when you've played at a high level, like in college, it's really hard to go to like co ed leagues or, even like the fun soccer leagues. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but I'm the kind of person like, I want practice and I want it structured and I want to know I'm like getting my cardio in. And,
Yeah.
like that's my favorite part about playing at this level is just the structure, the strategy, everything. And I've missed it so much. It's so good to just be focused, and it's an incredibly grounding thing in my life. I don't know about for you guys, I would assume, but it's hard to kind of rock you too hard when you're so much focus on one thing and you're just so engrossed and encompassed in it and that you love it. So,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, going off on another tangent over here. But yeah.
They're good
So
tangents, Katie.
yeah, going off. Yeah, but yeah. So, how did your like actual positions change and develop from a young age all the way into college and now? Have you always kind of played the same position, or have you kind of changed things up?
I feel like for me, that's definitely been a huge journey trying out different positions. I don't really remember as sort of like a 5 to 10 year old. I think I just played wherever the coach put me. When I went over to like the girls' side, when I was no longer playing on the boys' teams, I was definitely like had a hunger for goal, and I was like, yay! Now I can go and score the goals. So I definitely was a goal scorer in my young days, and my dad, he would pay me £1 per goal, and it was £5 per hat trick. And when I was on the boys' team, I think I just scored like one goal. That was it. And then my first match, I think my first match for the girls' team, I scored 5 goals. So I'd earned myself like a real good amount of money in that match. My
Nice.
dad was a bit like, like I'm gonna be giving my daughter a lot of money here. Um,
Yeah.
but then as I went over into like the academy side, that was where I really kind of struggled with my like positional identity, as it were. Like I
Mhm.
played center midfield, and then I I feel like as talent kind of grew within the academy, they kind of started putting me in a bunch of different positions. So I played like outside back, I played outside forward, I played a bit of striker. I basically just didn't play goalkeeper and centre back because I'm way too short to be a centre back, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like at the time that was kind of really hard for me because I was like, I want a position. Like I don't want to be this player who I can sit on the bench and coach can bring me in any position. I want to be the player that coach is like, oh, we need Megan in this position. So that was a big kind of struggle for me. And it's kind of what led me to join Watford because they saw me at the tryouts there as a striker. They were like, the coach pulled me over. He was like, this is where I see you. Like, you have like a natural like striking ability. Um, and so I was like, okay, like this is where I want to go because it will give me that opportunity to really focus on in one position. So I played striker and then came over to America and my coach was like, I think you're going to get more playing time in the midfield. And I'm like, oh my gosh, another position change. Serious. But actually, like Coach Brittany, so much respect for her. She has such incredible knowledge, and she definitely was right. Like physically in America, like I didn't have the kind of height, the like brute strength to hold up the ball, like compared to just the natural like athleticism of these American players. Like I wouldn't have seen so much playing time. And she was like, your soccer IQ, we can like really use that in the midfield. And so since joining Daytona State as an 18-year-old, I've basically played midfield. You know, whether that's CDM, just box to box, or the attacking mid. Pretty happy playing any of them as long as I'm in the center of the field. So that's kind of my positional journey. What about you guys?
I started as a goalkeeper. That's fun.
Oh, cool.
And then I thought I was gonna be like 5'8", and then I ended up being 5'3" on a good day. So, so I mean, the majority of my soccer career, I've been a defender. The same thing, you know, I've been told often that like I'm not tall enough for that position, but you know, I think more than anything, being a good defender is about just being a dog on the ball. Like, don't let it go. You know, if you lock your eyes on that thing, you latch on and you're not letting go of it until it's out of your third. So that's like, I'm very tenacious. I don't let it pass me very easily. So where I lack in height, I make up for determination. But like recently, this past season at Unity, I've been playing as like a midfielder, and that's really crazy. Mad respect to you, Megan. That stuff is wild. It's so much. There's so many people around you. You have to be so smart. Your touches have to be so crisp. Like everything has to be almost perfect in the midfield. In defense, like you can kind of be a little more sloppy around the edges. Like you can be very rough around the edges. Like you get those slide tackles in, you get those nice like clearing balls out. You know, sometimes there's some finesse. You know, but man, midfield is crazy. And then at our last game, I was put on top as a striker. Like
that was
going on here. What's happening? I pick defense. That was wild. I mean, I loved it. It was really fun. I mean, I don't want to like. I'm not gonna say this. Actually, I'm gonna take it back. Being a striker is very hard. However, it did seem like I got to chill out a little bit more. It wasn't as much pressure.
I bet center mid is going constantly all the time. I feel like center mid's never gonna break. They're always a part of the play, you know. Yeah.
So I'm willing to play anywhere, but primarily like I've been a defender, and I love it. I love like scoring goals it's very cool, but I love stopping a goal. And when people are winding up ready to make like that amazing shot, and like I just come in and sweep the ball out from underneath them, like it's the best feeling in the world. Like,
I
apologize.
Yeah. Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, whenever I was younger, I did mostly midfield, center mid, side mid. I was really into like creating the play, and I still love that. In high school, I had stamina days, so I could run all over the field, and you know, no problem. I was always around it. Did a lot of really great things in high school. But by the time I got to college, everybody was fast. So it was like, are you fast and do you have good skill? Can you place the ball? Not just Hail Mary it or, you know, track it down to, you know, to fix your mistake, because everybody was at that level. So I got in college, they put me out as left and right back. And that was a big change for me. I felt like I had to just learn the position all over again. Like I had to do a straight up one-on-one like breakdown with my coach, because I'm like, I'm used to being all over the place, and now I'm gonna have to be in this one area in a really structured way. But once I got it, I was like, it's my favorite thing in the world. Like, keep me out of center back, never. Like, I'm too small for that as well. I'm 5'1.5". So I'm just like, keep me in the outside. I'm scrappy. I can handle that little back corner, you know. And then I love playing those long balls in, the chips, you know. And I mean, if they put me in center mid, I'd give it a good old college try. But definitely the cardio's not there the way it needs to be. But yeah, so I love being a defender as well. I know exactly what you mean. It's so satisfying when you're like, not here, not now. And it's also awesome when you can like kind of shut down one side of the field, you know, if you like really, you're all playing well enough together that, oh, nothing's coming in on this side anymore. You know, like that's the ultimate, like, yes, it's so good. So Yeah.
Absolutely. I will say probably a good segue is, talking about things changing and what the show is doing and, where we're going after this week. I think it's been really cool that we got to talk about, our histories, and hopefully this helps everybody listening, like, understand who we are and like who's telling you the scoop on women's soccer, because
Yeah.
we are women soccer players. That's what we do. We eat,
We're
live and
seasoned.
breathe soccer. So,
Yes.
yeah. So I think, going forward, like with our cup of tea, like I would really love to continue these candid conversations about, our careers, and then also our perspectives on the women's game, including mental health or taking care of your body, but also talking about, current news that might be overlooked in the women's soccer world. One of the most annoying things is we were watching the women's national game, and like for 20 minutes before the game, like the pregame was talked about the men's national team because they finally won like a game. Like, I was like, please, can we like have one thing? Like,
Yeah.
so this is,
Oh my God.
the show is about women's soccer in its entirety, and I'm really looking forward to, the conversations that we can bring each week.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I'm excited to talk about it too, because I mean, it's like there's so much happening now. It's like such a hot topic, and it's really popular for people, like people are starting to buy into it because of what the US women's national team has done. They've really set the tone. They're just trailblazing right now. It's incredible what they've done for women's soccer. Yeah. Which I guess would bring us into our current news. We have a couple of hot topics going on. Megan, if you want to take it away, I know you've got some talking points you wanted to add in there.
Well, we are currently at 57 minutes-ish, so I think we are going to need to wrap up this show today.
Oh, okay.
We will be touching on current news, that's for sure, and all different topics like Harlie spoke about in the upcoming weeks. Please follow us on our Twitter page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're so excited to be hosting this show. We'd like to say a special thank you to our partners, the UWS and the UWS2. And also, big shout out to Jonathan Ward for helping us bring the #1 show dedicated to women's soccer back to your screens. So yeah, we are really, really excited, and we will be bringing you lots more content in the future. So definitely give us a follow to stay up to date, and we'll let you know what time we'll be back next week for round 2, where we will definitely make sure we have time to hit the current news topics. But we hope you enjoyed finding out a bit more about us as hosts. And yeah, everything women's soccer is going to be on our cup of tea. So this is the place to be.
Yep. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everyone who's listening.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye.